Switchfoot.
Maybe I'll
Interrobang. This would be album number 1, 2, 3. 12, 13, somewhere in there. They've been around a while, guys. Had almost 3 decades. Almost 3 decades. 30 years a band. Go figure. And, you know, they could just, you know, not give a dang. Also, they're kind of a Christian group, ish. I'm going to try not to swear, because they do have a bigger, wider audience. If I do, and it slips, I'll just apologize ahead of time. Especially if I'm doing it out of pure excitement and enthusiasm, because yes, anyone who's seen my review on Native Tongue a couple years ago, before the pandemic hit, or was it a year ago, actually? Sorry for the rain, by the way. Yeah. Oh, he was right. They were on a trajectory to getting back to being that band. Granted, the pandemic situation has probably slowed them a little bit, and it's still going to be quite gradual, honestly. There's some people, the way this album has come about, and I think the way this album come about shows a sense of ambition and fascination to me that I really appreciate, and I like this album enough. And they do kind of reference things about, like, in reference within the lyricism of a lot of these songs. Beloved's okay as a song. I think it takes a few times to grow on you, but I understand it being a bit of an odd choice for an opening track. Especially, that's the one thing I did praise about Native Tongue, is at least it's been the first time I've enjoyed an opening track since even Vice Versa's, you know? Or at least enjoyed it enough that it felt like a Switchfoot song, and at least it, you know, forewarned you about the rest of the record, especially if you were looking at the track listing while listening to it. So, with that one, yes, it had some Dragon moments, but I didn't think they were away from being Switchfoot necessarily. And there are some people I'm hearing that are hating this record. I do understand if it seems like a mixed bag of more questions than answers. Hence the whole Interrobang. Intero was, I think, some form of translation towards the question mark, something with specific thing about it, and then I think with the exclamation point thing is where the bane is, like a slang for it. Hence where the term Interrobang, which is about how many questions, about dealing with all these questions and answers and everything, and what 2020 was essentially summed up for them. So this is like a quarantine album. Personally, the way the music comes off to me, there is some Radiohead, or at least this is way more obviously Radiohead in an OK Computer kind of way than what it seemed the title of a certain album that came out earlier from Weezer did. In fact, I'm going to have to throw in a comparison with Weezer and say Weezer kind of did a better record. That being said, this is a step up from Native Tongue. I don't care who the fudge popsicle sticks you are. I'm trying to strain. I don't want to. Nursing, I don't want to. I'm so excited, and I'm sorry for the rain. I'm sorry. I can't help the weather. I just hope it's not going to be just whatever. And 2021 is starting getting better, and I like this. And I like the artwork personally. To me, it makes sense. And plus, they chose a different producer than their usual go-to. Charlie something, I think. Why am I blanking on the name? But anyways, they went with Tony Berg, most recently of fame with... Why am I linking on the artist? She was a big deal. I know she got some Grammys for her album Punisher. I'll think of it either in this review or you can tell me in the comments. It'll pop in my head. Who knows? But yeah, this... Phoebe Bridger, there it is. I got it, guys. But Phoebe Bridger, who pretty much her first 2 albums. Apparently, there's some band I now want to check out called Ultra State when I looked them up. And apparently, he did a Peter Gabriel album some later on, but it's later era, so it's so whatever. But he's apparently not even really asked for as a producer so much as he's being asked to do this as a, which I think might be the issue this album does have. If anything, is the producer choice. Is the producer choice was more for a personal viewpoint thing rather than the actual job he does. But but the thing is, because it's his atheist viewpoint against the band's more Christian viewpoints, and given that that's a lot of, if it's not that more religious viewpoint thing and not a political viewpoint when it came to 2020, which was everything essentially there. And they make it obvious, which I guess, and once they do that with tracks like If I Were Me and If I Were You, I think does that. But I do think the tracks Lost Cause and Fluorescent, like, those are the ones that do stick with me the most, and I still like have in my head. And especially Lost Cause being the most closest to like a sort of a Legend of Chin kind of thing, very Concrete Girl-esque in its approach. Fluorescent being probably the most closer to like Radiohead OK Computer in terms of like Baroque instrumentation. They're still dealing with the electronic stuff, flirting with that here and there. Some electronic rock with mixes of Baroque pop or elements. I'd almost say it's almost sort of post-rock-ish, which in that way of that Radiohead takes from, at least. That they do, and it's not like they haven't been an influence in the band, but I don't think that there have been as obvious of an influence in the same way as you would say many bands that were lumped into the Christian rock scene or alternative rock scene when it came to like U2 or something. U2, or at least they had the U2 Foo Fighters thing, and then some other influences kind of seeped in here and there with them. Well, the Foo Fighters stuff was very more obvious on that one album that came after Beautiful Letdown, which is still their best. Personally, I will defend the first 8 albums no matter what. It's hard to say. I will never defend Fading West. I have been very much kinder in the sense that those albums have at least been better than Fading West, despite what everyone says about Native Tongue and may wind up saying. I understand the indifference, but I'm leaning clearly on the more positive side. And they are doing exactly what I thought they would do and step in the right direction. And they do end this album. I actually kind of like The Hard Way. I do get like Oh Gravity era vibes. Like there's some of that. There's some of the first 2 early day albums more so. Well, Listen Backwards in Time aren't bad. Splinter's not bad. I Need to Be Wrong is fine. That one I think is one of the other ones. The Bones of Us are fine too. I do feel like this feels more Switchfoot to me in comparison to their last album, personally. And Radiohead in a good way to me. Granted, I understand because of it being a little darker in nature compared to what you would expect from Switchfoot, personally. Or at least, heck, it's way darker than darker in tone. It's taking that early style and being darker in tone almost to the point of Nothing to Sound is the album I'm thinking of. That, but yeah. Ugh. But I do think I feel like they are in a good direction, and my frustration isn't even with this album, it's with the people that are bitching. Especially if there's the same people that are bitching, it's like, I know they expect great from Switchfoot, but are you really, how high are you putting your expectations? I didn't expect to be blown out of the water the moment I heard the songs, but I was just surprised that, at least they're trying to make quality type music again. In a way that Switchfoot can. And even at this stage in their career where they don't necessarily have to. I mean, and I'd like them to, don't get me wrong. Or at least end with a bang. But this album, I guess when you call yourself the album Terabane and all that stuff, I appreciate the enthusiasm, and then we're trying to do it for to show off disunity and some kind of form of discourse and all this stuff. It's what they were going for, and that's why they picked Tony Berg for that viewpoint, his atheistic viewpoint, countering theirs and trying to come up with lyrics. And the lyricism seems to be the part that seems to come off better for the most part. Or at least what you expect from Switchfoot anyways. And I think Lost Cause is great. Like that rhythm does just hit me in the right ways, you know. And, oh, no lyrics on that one? That sucks. Bones of Us has some good lyrics too. And Electricity is definitely one of the better closing tracks on this album, personally, to me. It's definitely one of the, yeah, it's definitely one of the better tracks. I really, and what is a good way to go out on? At least enough to kind of make you want to give this another shot, at least a couple other spins. And I think in those couple other spins, I think Beloved does become off a little bit better. But for the most part, I mean, my highlights for me, personally, have been more so Lost Cause, Fluorescent. Stick with me a lot. The Hard Way does. And then I think yeah, like Bones of Us is one of the better, softer tracks for sure. I really like this. Overall, I feel like the band is coming back in a good way, and I hope I hope people can. I'm not expecting them to go fully on board, but I hope they can give them. I just hope that the band doesn't steer away completely from this direction. There's something here that's closer to what we've come to love about Switchfoot, and I hope they still keep going this direction. And that's also sort of different in the right kinds of ways that I wished we would have gotten many albums ago. But because I haven't been properly enjoying, because everyone wants to talk up Holy Water, but I feel like still some lingering Fading West shit that I just was not feeling. Ugh. But this one feels in a good way of the lo-fi indie rock that I remember, that I look at fondly, as opposed to what they were doing, while kind of bringing in some radio stuff in a way that, like, oh, that makes sense. Or at least way more than I would say 1975 ever does. And I never really could get into them. But anyways. But heck, I'm hoping that they at least, after this, and if they take some of this and then try to go back to being a little bit more fun and shit. I hope they do that, you know, and remind us what they used to be, you know. No, in terms of feel, and I hope they do it. I can't wait. So, for when that does happen, whenever they do it, if they ever do another album again. If not, I won't be too mad that this is the last album we get. Personally. What did you guys think of it? Leave a comment below. Let me know. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. Also, thumbs up to this album. A very highly enthusiastic thumbs up. I get if it's more of a mixed bag to most people, but I'm leaning positive enough. I can enthusiastically say yes. Thumbs up. We're going on a good trajectory now. And let's get back to having fun, though. Again, I get having to be dark and dreary a little bit here, because of the subject matter you've chosen, because of the involvement of 2020's, the whole pandemic and all this stuff, and hopefully if we can get out, if everyone can, you know, pull their heads out of their asses and, you know, get vaccinated, and at least, you know, or at least, you know, and since, sorry for the cursing again, but for some of the more Christian viewers who do like Switchfoot here that have come to see this review, but yeah, for those who do and believe, or at least far stronger and have much stronger faith that God is willing to listen, at least, how about y'all pray to make sure that vaccines aren't consisted of 50-year-old dead aborted fetuses? Yeah, I'm aware. And yeah, I got vaccinated. I'm bummed to hear about that, and I didn't exactly find out until after I was already set an appointment, so, and I couldn't really do a whole lot about it, since my mom was the one that did it. I get why, given what happened. She doesn't want me bringing anything, and Dad, it's the same with my dad. I hope he does, but it's whatever. I'm not going to get too personal with it, that I haven't already, but please, just get vaccinated, guys. Please. Help everybody out. I mean, everything has side effects. I understand if some people feel like they might be some certain side effects that affect them with having already pretty severe sort of side effects of their own prior to, in terms of like if you have epilepsy or something, because I know a friend who has is because of dealing with that, so, you know, just stuff like that, you know, or just already dealing with cancer, so it's like, what's the point? Unless they can make up something that works, that makes it also cure cancer, that'd be awesome. But anyways, leave a comment below, let me know what do you think of the new Switch for Down Terra thing. As always, just keep it random, keep it real, keep it rock. See you next video. Take care, y'all.